What's going on, everybody? It's Jacob here, back with Amateur Hour TV for another video on the second channel for Amateur Hour. On this channel, I like to go through additional NBA related topics, especially concerning the Toronto Raptors, that I just do not have enough time to get to on my main channel, Amateur Hour Sports, with over 11,000 subscribers there. Go check out that channel if you've not done so already. So instead, we do so on this channel. It's a great way for me to document more of my thoughts and opinions on NBA related matters, and I hope you're enjoying that. And if you do, be sure to like the video, help support the brand even further, and make sure you're subscribed for tons of Raptors content all throughout the offseason and into the next season as well. Also, shout out you guys. We just hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel, the second channel in Amateur Hour to get to that 4-digit milestone, 1,000 subs. Honestly, I cannot believe how quick we got to this point. I started this channel as like a vlogging channel, realized I didn't like vlogging, so shifted over to this style here, and it's working really well. You guys are enjoying the videos, we're getting tons of subscribers, and I'm so extremely grateful. Thank you guys. Lots of big stuff coming in the future for Amateur Hour, I promise. But let's get into our content for today already. We're talking about the Raptors backup point guard battle for next season and what that battle is going to look like, who is going to come out on top in that battle, because last season it was a difficult time for Raptors as it comes to point guards. I mean, the Raptors won games. They won a lot of games. They kept on winning games, large part due to the play of Pascal Siakam late in the season, but it was the all-star level performances of Fred VanVleet earlier on in the season which actually kept us afloat to the point where when Pascal Siakam took over and, earned himself a spot on the All-NBA third team as a result of his performances, mostly in the second half of the season, I'd say, after he came back from his shoulder injury, it took him a little bit of time to settle down, but then he really dialed in. But Fred kept us afloat. I mean, Fred, earlier on in the season, do you guys remember how good he was? And as a result of playing so well, he averaged the most amount of minutes in the NBA. That was because of his great play. That was also because we didn't have any backup guards. And like when Fred VanVleet got taken off and got put on the bench to get that little sliver of rest that he could get, the Raptors went to shit pretty much. So so they had to leave him out there. And as a result of playing all of these exorbitant minutes, injuries caught up to him, as we kind of predicted in the middle of the season. I said, if this keeps going, he's going to get some injury problems. It happened near the end of the season. Siakam was so good, though, that we kept on winning. But then in the playoffs, we also saw Fred VanVleet dealing with those injuries. He just wasn't the same player after the All-Star break as a result of the injuries, which I believe is a direct correlation with playing so many minutes. But the problem was he had to play all these minutes because, like I said, you couldn't really take him off because when you did, things would go to, as I mentioned earlier. So the reason it went to, those bad places when he went off the court is because we just didn't really have a serviceable backup point guard to actually use for this team. I mean, early in the season, Dalano Banton, our 46th overall pick, was electric. Like, the stuff he brought to the game, like, he really actually changed the energy and dynamic of some games coming off the bench. At least, kept us stable in the minutes where Fred VanVleet was on the bench, but Banton faded quickly. I think that was largely due to just regression to the mean. Also, teams maybe figuring him out because his game is pretty simple. A little bit of a criticism for him. And Fred VanVleet also played all these minutes because Malachi Flynn, who we expected to take a bigger jump into that backup point guard role last season, it just didn't really happen. He got opportunities, but the bottom line is Malachi Flynn just doesn't offer enough on the court. His defense is okay, like it's fine. Offensively, he's a decent ball handler. He's a high IQ point guard. Just can't score. And when you can't score, you just don't have any gravity on the court. It makes scoring even harder for yourself. And it makes, the good things that you do, passing and ball handling, makes those even more difficult because nobody has to really give you the respect when they're guarding you. So again, as a result, Fred VanVleet was playing all of these crazy minutes. And we know we can't do that this season. We know we can't do that. Nick Nurse even admitted late in the season in some press conferences, I think it was actually after the season, where he said, like, maybe we shouldn't be playing him all these minutes. It was paraphrasing. It wasn't the exact quote, but it was something along those lines. He acknowledged Fred was playing too many minutes, and he acknowledged that needed to change. So the Raptors, what they did in the offseason was, well, they focused on all the other aspects that they needed to work on and didn't focus on bringing any point guards. So sorry, that sounded like criticism, but they did make some good pickups, like Otto Porter Jr.'s good pickup. They brought back Boucher and Thad, which was great. There's only so much you can do with the money that you had, so they prioritized a forward who could space the floor in Otto Porter. Love that signing. Wasn't any room for a point guard, so we're still working with Dalano Banton, who we're hoping took some strides in the offseason. We're still working with Malachi Flynn, and we hope we hope to God to take some strides this season, or else I think his time with the Raptors is done. And we also brought in Jeff Dowtin. This was an interesting one. He played really well in the G League last season, and we brought him in for Summer League. He was, in my opinion, the best player in Summer League for the Toronto Raptors, and as a result, he's been given an opportunity here. He's on a two-way deal, which would usually mean he's going to be spending more time in the G League. But this doesn't mean he isn't going to be getting some time with the Raptors. I mean, last season, Justin Champagnie was on a two-way deal and was kind of a minor part of the rotation for the first half of the season. Jeff Dowtin, in a position here where he's playing really well, not a lot of competition for the position, he could sneak into that backup point guard spot for the Raptors. So we are going to kind of debate which of these players would be the best fit in that backup point guard position. And actually, a couple weeks ago, I asked you guys what you thought about this situation. And the most of you think that Malachi Flynn is the best choice to be the backup point guard. It'd be interesting to see how these results have changed. I mean, one of the guys on this isn't even on the team anymore. So it's not going to be him, although nobody really voted for him. Jeff Dowtin, I wonder if he gets more votes right now. I also wonder if Malachi Flynn gets more votes as a result of dropping 52 in the Drew League. I think it was 52. But this poll, I think one of the issues with this poll was that I typically schedule polls like days in advance, sometimes like almost a week in advance, usually not though, days in advance. So when this poll dropped, it was the day after Malachi Flynn dropped 73 points at Pro-Am. I'm wondering if that skewed this a little bit, but nonetheless, like, not a ton of difference between Banton and Flynn. Jeff Dowtin, I don't think we can really put any money on him being a backup guard all of a sudden. So between Banton and Flynn, the thing is, Banton has more upside. I don't think there's any debate about that. Malachi Flynn is so frustrating for me because I know there is a talented player in there. There is a talented player. There is a highly intelligent basketball player in there. I see it. I see the tendencies. I see the decision-making. There is a smart and talented point guard and basketball player within Malachi Flynn. He just needs to execute more consistently. Like, have you ever seen a guy with this smooth of a jump shot, literally unable to hit a jump shot? Because if he starts making those jump shots, you all of a sudden have to go defend him. Well, now, one of the better traits of his game, his passing starts to kind of evolve a little bit. Malachi Flynn is excellent in the pick and roll. Now we can run that a little bit more because you have to respect Malachi Flynn coming off the screen, potentially shooting a three. So, that unlocks other parts of his game. So that is something that I would want to work with. And Malachi Flynn, to be honest, is a little bit more polished, and that's something that you kind of work with because his decision-making is very good compared to Dalano Banton, who maybe has arguably more talent. The way he can slash to the rim, the way he can play make, maybe his size on defense, though, his shooting isn't great, but I find he can score a little bit better than Malachi Flynn just because of his size, the way he kind of glides, very gazelle-like, gliding to the rim. There's pros and cons to both. Ultimately, Malachi Flynn probably makes less mistakes, so that would give him more of a chance to be that backup point guard. So if I was choosing between Banton and Flynn, I kind of reluctantly go with Flynn, but, ideally, we're not really using either of these. But that could be just the thing here. What if we don't have to use any of these guys that I don't really have a ton of faith in as the backup point guard? Now, if you're sitting here and you're smart, you may have noticed these numbers don't add up to 100%. That's because I pulled a sneaky one on you. I didn't show all of the results of the poll just yet. Now, what would be hilarious right now is if somebody saw that initial poll and then typed a mean comment saying, "Oh my God, you made a poll, didn't even add it up to 100%. And maybe they're still here and now they're deleting their comment. Maybe they left the video because they just think I'm such an idiot. But I pulled a sneaky one on you. I left out 12%. And the last choice in that poll, which was automated by YouTube, therefore I couldn't skew the numbers in any way whatsoever anyway, the last choice in the poll is none of the above. Let the forwards run the point. Now, I am stunned, personally, that this only got 12% of the votes. This only got the fourth highest. It only, barely beat out Armoni Brooks for the backup point guard spot. And this would be my choice. Why not let Pascal Siakam run point when Fred VanVleet's off the floor? Why not let Scotty Barnes run point when Fred VanVleet's off the floor? There are tons of guys who can do this who I'm much more comfortable having on the court for the Raptors. The starting five is pretty much locked in. Fred, Gary, OG, Pascal, Scotty. That's your 5. Your bench has to be Achua, Otto Porter, Thad, Boucher. That's a great 9-man rotation, in my opinion. I don't want to, add in, I wouldn't say a rotten ingredient, but like, something that really takes away from the dish here by throwing in one of these point guards that maybe kind of obstructs this great creation that we have here of these similes or whatever, metaphors. Anyways, like when Fred VanVleet was injured, we literally started Pascal as a point guard, and he was like, I was like, okay, I'm with it. Let's see how this goes. And he was like just excellent in some of those games, like his playmaking, ball handling, scoring, like he does all these things so well. And we're such a switchable team that so many guys can kind of handle the ball. I'm completely comfortable with Siakam running point and Scotty Barnes running point. I think like we need to start trending into an area where even when Fred is on the court, Scotty Barnes runs point, because like Fred is better off ball. I've said for so long, he's a shooting guard trapped in a point guard's body. So as a result, he's adapted to his size, he's become a better playmaker, whatnot. But this guy, the best asset to his game is to catch and shoot. Other than like the defense, maybe the best asset to his game is the catch and shoot, pick and pop. Like he is just an extraordinary shooter at insanely high volumes. Give Scotty Barnes the ball. Let him run the show a little bit more. Let him make those passes. Let him draw that attention. And a lot of kickouts to Fred VanVleet. Like, I think that's a great option as well for us. But when Fred is off the floor, I like the 4 bench guys that I listed earlier. Maybe if there's injuries, I'm trusting Malachi Flynn a little bit more than Dalano Banton. But, I am not on the Malachi Flynn train because, like, I was for 2 years and nothing has really improved. Like, going into his rookie season, I'm like, this can be a backup point guard. And I'm like, okay. Then I watched him, I'm like, okay, maybe next year. And the start of the most recent season, I'm like, okay, had a full summer to work on his game. He's going to be better. Now he can be the backup point guard. Then he didn't get any better at all. In fact, you could argue his shooting got worse because like late in that Tampa season, he was actually playing really well. So that's what I was kind of hoping for this season. It didn't happen. And there's no expectation for me that anything is going to change with the player. Banton, work in progress. We'll see how long that takes. But let the good players stay on the floor and let the good players get the ball more often. That's how I would do this. So my vote for this would have been right around here. Give these guys the chance to run the point. Scotty Barnes, let's get the ball in that guy's hands. Let's get him to the next level. Let's make him a freaking all-star. Let's see if we can do that. But that's exactly what I would do. Maybe you guys have it different. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Would you let the forward run the point guard of the bench? Would you let somebody else do it? Would love to hear your thoughts and opinions, comments down below. You can start that discussion, and make sure, because it's the end of the video, you drop a like if you did enjoy, and be sure to subscribe to Amateur TV for more content just like this. I know we just hit 1,000 subs, but we want to continue to push onwards and forwards into the future. We are now on our road to 2,000 subs on this channel, and in return, you get all this great Raptors content, all this great NBA content. We're going to continue to work on this channel because, honestly, it doesn't take me a ton of time to make these videos, and they're a lot of fun to make, so some great content is on the way. We'll see you again next time for another video on Amateur TV.